Alex's heart pounded as she raced through the chaotic streets, dodging debris and displaced historical figures that seemed to materialize out of thin air. The timeline had fractured, causing a disorienting blend of eras and realities to converge. It was her job, as a seasoned agent of the Temporal Enforcement Agency, TEA, to navigate this tangled web and restore the delicate balance of the timeline before it unraveled completely. After her harrowing encounter with Dahlia's forces, Alex knew she couldn't face this challenge alone. She needed allies, people, or perhaps even other beings, who understood the gravity of the situation and were willing to risk everything to stop the rogue scientist's nefarious plans. As if summoned by her desperation, a blinding light seared across the sky, momentarily obscuring the colliding skylines. When the glow subsided, a sleek, otherworldly craft hovered before Alex, its metallic surface shimmering with an otherworldly energy. The hatch opened, and a graceful, ethereal figure emerged, an alien, unlike any Alex had ever seen. Its translucent, luminescent skin seemed to radiate an inner light, and its eyes held a depth of wisdom that belied its alien nature. "Temporal agent, you are in grave danger," the alien spoke, its voice reverberating with a melodic cadence. "The fabric of the universe is unraveling, and if left unchecked, the consequences will be catastrophic." Alex hesitated for a moment, her training instinctively wary of unknown entities. But the alien's words rang true, and the urgency in its tone was undeniable. "Who are you?" she asked, stepping closer to the craft. "I am Zari, and I have been observing the temporal fractures with great concern," the alien replied. "My people possess a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, and we cannot stand idly by as your world is consumed by chaos." Zari extended a slender, luminescent hand toward Alex. "I have been tasked with finding those who can help restore the balance. Will you join me, Agent Alex, and lend your skills to this crucial endeavor?" Alex considered the offer, her mind racing with the implications. This alien, Zari, claimed to have knowledge and abilities that could prove invaluable in her mission. And with the timeline fracturing by the minute, she didn't have the luxury of time to deliberate. "I'm listening," she said, stepping onto the alien craft. "What do you know about the cause of this time chaos, and how can we stop it?" Zari's eyes seemed to sparkle with a hint of relief as Alex accepted the invitation. "The disturbances in the fabric of time are the result of a singular, devastating event, one that has shattered the very foundations of your universe. A rogue scientist, Dahlia, has discovered a way to manipulate the flow of time for her own selfish purposes. She seeks to rewrite the course of history with devastating consequences." The alien's expression grew somber as it continued. "My people have been monitoring the situation closely, and we fear that if Dahlia's actions are not stopped, the repercussions will be catastrophic, not just for your world, but for the entire multiverse." Alex's mind raced with the implications. "Then we don't have a moment to lose. What can you tell me about Dahlia's capabilities, and how can we counter her time manipulation abilities?" Zari gestured toward the craft's control panel, and a holographic display sprang to life, revealing a complex network of temporal distortions. "Dahlia has discovered a way to create rifts in the fabric of time, allowing her to travel freely between eras and alter the course of events. She has amassed a formidable arsenal of time-bending technology, which she uses to disrupt the natural flow of the timeline." The alien's fingers danced across the controls, and the display zoomed in on a specific location. Here at the heart of the time chaos, Dahlia has established a central hub, a research facility where she coordinates her efforts to reshape the future according to her own twisted vision. Alex studied the holographic representation, her mind already formulating a plan of attack. "If we can disrupt her operations at this facility, we may be able to close the time rifts and restore the timeline to its proper order." Zari nodded solemnly. "That is our best hope, but it will not be an easy task. Dahlia's forces are well equipped, and the temporal fluctuations in the area make it incredibly difficult to navigate." The alien paused, its gaze meeting Alex's with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "And there is another complication. Dahlia is not the only one who has become entangled in the time chaos. There is a warrior from the future, one who has also traveled back in time to confront the scientist and prevent the destruction of their world." Alex's brow furrowed. Another time traveler? What do they have to do with this? Their goals may align with ours, but their methods are unorthodox, Zeri explained. This warrior, Ezra, has witnessed the devastation that Dahlia's actions have wrought upon their timeline, and they are driven by a fierce determination to stop her, no matter the cost. The alien paused, its luminous eyes filled with a deep concern. If we are to succeed in this mission, we must find a way to work with Ezra, despite the potential risks and challenges they may present. Alex nodded, her mind racing with the implications. Then we have no time to waste. Let's go find this Ezra and see if they're willing to join the fight against Dahlia. The fate of the entire universe may depend on it. Zari gestured toward the craft's entrance, and Alex stepped back inside, her heart pounding with a mixture of trepidation and resolve. As the hatch sealed behind her, the alien craft surged forward, cutting through the temporal vortex with a speed that defied the laws of physics. Alex braced herself, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. But with Zari's knowledge and the promise of an unlikely ally in Ezra, she felt a renewed sense of hope that they could restore the delicate balance of the timeline and prevent Dahlia's catastrophic plans from coming to fruition. As the craft hurtled through the shifting landscapes of time, Alex steeled her resolve, determined to confront the challenges that lay ahead, no matter the cost. Alex's investigation into the catastrophic time event had led them to a hidden laboratory on the outskirts of the city. As they cautiously approached the nondescript building, a sense of unease crept up their spine. This was no ordinary research facility. The heightened security measures and the palpable air of secrecy suggested something far more sinister. Slipping past the guards with the help of their TEA credentials, Alex navigated the sterile corridors, their senses on high alert. The deeper they ventured into the facility, the more the air seemed to hum with the energy of some unseen force. It was as if the very fabric of time was being manipulated within these walls. Alex's suspicions were confirmed when they stumbled upon an advanced control room, its holographic displays and intricate machinery a clear indication of the kind of technology at work here. But it was the woman standing at the center of it all that truly caught Alex's attention. Dahlia, a renowned scientist with a reputation for brilliance and innovation, was hunched over a series of complex calculations, her brow furrowed in concentration. Alex had heard the rumors, the whispers of Dahlia's obsession with unlocking the secrets of time, but to see it manifested in such a tangible way was both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. Clearing their throat, Alex stepped forward, their voice cutting through the hum of the machinery. Dahlia, I presume. I'm Agent Alex of the Temporal Enforcement Agency, and I'm here to put a stop to your little experiment. Dahlia's head snapped up, her eyes narrowing as she regarded the intruder. Agent Alex, she purred, a predatory smile spreading across her lips. I was wondering when you and your meddlesome agency would catch up to me. She gestured grandly to the array of screens and devices surrounding them. This is just the beginning, you know, a mere glimpse into the true power I've unlocked. The ability to manipulate time itself. Can you even begin to fathom the implications? Alex felt a surge of dread at Dahlia's words. The implications are precisely why I'm here to shut this down. You have no idea the damage you're causing, the devastating consequences your actions could have on the entire timeline. Dahlia's expression darkened, and she stepped closer, her voice dropping to a menacing whisper. On the contrary, Agent Alex, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I have no intention of letting you or your precious Temporal Enforcement Agency stand in my way. Before Alex could react, the room erupted in a blinding flash of light, and the world around them began to distort and warp. Alarms blared, and the floor trembled as the very fabric of time seemed to unravel. Stumbling to maintain their balance, Alex watched in horror as historical figures and futuristic technology materialized around them, colliding in a dizzying display of chaos. Dahlia's laughter echoed through the din, her eyes gleaming with a chilling triumph. You see, Agent Alex, this is just the beginning. The timeline is mine to control, and soon the entire universe will bow before me. Alex's mind raced, desperately trying to formulate a plan to stop Dahlia's madness. But as the world around them descended into a nightmarish kaleidoscope of eras and realities, they knew that this was no longer a simple investigation. The stakes had been raised, and the fate of the entire universe now rested on their shoulders. With a steely resolve, Alex braced themselves for the fight of their life, determined to put an end to Dahlia's reckless quest for power, no matter the cost. Weaving through the colliding timelines, Alex narrowly avoided the clutches of a group of rogue time travelers, their weapons and advanced technology posing a formidable threat. Ducking behind a crumbling stone wall, Alex took a moment to catch their breath, their mind racing to piece together a plan of action. It was then that a familiar voice called out, cutting through the chaos. "Agent Alex, I presume?" Whirling around, Alex found themselves face to face with a figure clad in advanced battle gear, their features obscured by a tinted visor. "Who are you?" Alex demanded, their hand instinctively reaching for their weapon. The stranger raised a hand in a gesture of peace. "My name is Ezra, and I'm here to help you stop Dahlia. I've been tracking her movements for years, ever since she first discovered how to manipulate the timeline." Alex regarded Ezra with a mixture of caution and curiosity. "You're from the future, aren't you? How did you get caught up in all this?" Ezra's shoulders sagged, a hint of weariness creeping into their voice. "I'm from a future ravaged by Dahlia's actions. She's already caused untold devastation, and if we don't stop her now, the consequences will be catastrophic." Pulling a device from their belt, Ezra extended it to Alex. "This will allow you to navigate the time vortex and pinpoint Dahlia's location, but you'll need to move fast. The timeline is unraveling, and time is running out." Alex hesitated for a moment, their mind racing with the implications of Ezra's words. But the urgency of the situation was undeniable, and with a nod they accepted the device, steeling themselves for the challenge ahead. "Then let's go stop Dahlia before she can do any more damage." Together, Alex and Ezra plunged back into the chaotic fray, their determination fueling their every step as they raced to confront the rogue scientist and her twisted plans for the future. Alex's heart raced as she wove through the crowded streets, desperately trying to shake off her pursuers. The familiar gray halls of the Temporal Enforcement Agency had given way to a chaotic urban landscape, its architecture a jarring mix of sleek, futuristic buildings and dilapidated structures from a bygone era. Dahlia's security forces were closing in, their advanced technology allowing them to track Alex's movements with precision. Just as she thought she had lost them, a figure emerged from the shadows, blocking her path. Alex tensed, ready to fight, but the stranger's movements were fluid and graceful, nothing like the brutish thugs chasing her. As the figure drew closer, Alex caught a glimpse of their face, a hardened, determined expression that seemed out of place in this time-fractured world. "Who are you?" Alex demanded, poised to defend herself. "Ezra," the stranger replied, their voice low and gruff. "I'm here to help you." Without another word, Ezra sprung into action, engaging Dahlia's goons in a furious display of hand-to-hand combat. Alex watched in awe as Ezra effortlessly dodged blows and landed devastating strikes, their movements seemingly guided by an innate understanding of the flow of time itself. As the last of the security forces lay unconscious at their feet, Ezra turned to Alex, their eyes narrowing with suspicion. "You're from the Temporal Enforcement Agency, aren't you?" Alex nodded, still trying to catch her breath. "Yes, I am, and you seem to know a lot about them." Ezra's expression darkened. "I know more than you can imagine. Dahlia's actions have already devastated my future. I've come back to stop her before it's too late." The gravity in Ezra's words sent a chill down Alex's spine. "Then we have a common enemy. I need your help to stop Dahlia and restore the timeline." Ezra studied Alex for a moment, weighing the decision. "Very well, but know this. I'm not here to save the world out of the goodness of my heart. I'm here to protect my own future, no matter the cost." Alex knew she had little choice but to accept Ezra's terms. With the time chaos spiraling out of control, she needed all the help she could get. Steeling herself, she responded, "Fair enough, let's get to work." The two set off, navigating the fractured reality, their uneasy alliance forged in the face of a common threat. As they encountered displaced historical figures and the lingering effects of Dahlia's meddling, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of dread at the thought of the devastation that lay ahead. Ezra, on the other hand, seemed hardened by the harsh realities of their own timeline, their eyes constantly scanning for danger. In my time, Dahlia's actions tore the world apart. Entire civilizations were wiped out, and the few who survived live in constant fear of the next catastrophe. Alex listened intently, her heart sinking with each word. Then we have to stop her, no matter what it takes. Ezra nodded, their expression grim. I've seen what the future holds if we fail. It's not a world worth saving. As they pressed on, the gravity of their mission weighed heavily on both of them. Alex understood the stakes, but the thought of the horrors Ezra had witnessed was almost too much to bear. She knew that they were racing against time, not just to restore the timeline, but to prevent a dystopian future from becoming a reality. The journey was fraught with peril, as they encountered rogue time travelers and historical figures whose actions had been irrevocably altered by Dahlia's meddling. Alex and Ezra were forced to make difficult choices, often sacrificing their own well-being to protect the delicate fabric of the timeline. During one particularly harrowing encounter, Alex and Ezra found them trapped in a collapsing pocket of time, surrounded by the echoes of a bygone era. As the walls of reality crumbled around them, Alex turned to Ezra, her eyes pleading, "We have to get out of here. If the timeline unravels any further, the entire universe could be destroyed." Ezra's expression hardened, their gaze filled with a mixture of determination and resignation. "There may be a way, but it's risky." Alex didn't hesitate. "I'm willing to take that risk. What do we need to do?" Ezra explained their plan, a complex and daring maneuver involving the manipulation of temporal energies. As they put the plan into motion, Alex felt a surge of trepidation, knowing that the fate of the world hung in the balance. With a final desperate push, they managed to escape the collapsing timeline, emerging into a world that was both familiar and alien. Alex glanced around, her mind reeling from the disorientation of their journey. Ezra stood beside her, their expression unreadable. "Welcome to the future, Agent Alex, or what's left of it." The haunting words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the stakes they were fighting for. As they navigated the dystopian landscape, Alex couldn't help but feel a growing sense of dread and determination. She knew that the fate of the universe rested on their shoulders, and she was more determined than ever to prevent this grim future from becoming a reality. With Ezra's guidance and their combined resolve, Alex and her newfound ally set out to confront Dahlia and uncover the full extent of her plans. The road ahead was fraught with peril, but they were driven by the knowledge that the future of all existence hung in the balance. Zari's ship emerged from the swirling time vortex, cutting through the chaotic eddies of displaced eras and colliding realities. Alex clung tightly to the edge of the pilot's seat, her knuckles turning white as they navigated the perilous journey. Ezra, equally unnerved by the disorienting sensations, kept a watchful eye on their surroundings, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. After what felt like an eternity, the ship broke free from the time maelstrom and settled into a calmer, more stable environment. Alex let out a shaky breath, her heart pounding in her chest. "Where are we?" she asked, surveying the unfamiliar landscape through the viewscreen. Zari's fingers danced across the ship's controls, their bioluminescent skin glowing faintly. "We are in the Zari homeworld system, orbiting the planet Zaria." Their voice held a melodic quality, both soothing and captivating. "I have brought you here to seek the counsel of the elders, for they may possess insights that could aid in your mission to restore the balance of the timeline." Ezra's brow furrowed with skepticism. "The elders? And how can a bunch of aliens help us with this human-made mess?" The warrior's gruff tone betrayed their distrust of the unknown. Alex placed a hand on Ezra's arm, silently urging them to remain open-minded. "Zari, we're grateful for your assistance, but time is of the essence. Can the elders provide us with information that will help us stop Dahlia?" Zari's large, expressive eyes met Alex's gaze with unwavering certainty. "The elders possess a deep understanding of the fabric of the universe, including the complex interplay of time and space. They have witnessed the ebb and flow of existence for millennia and their wisdom may be the key to unraveling the mysteries of the time chaos you now face. Without further hesitation, Zeri guided the ship down towards the alien world, its lush, verdant landscapes and towering spires of crystalline architecture coming into view. Alex and Ezra watched in awe as they descended, the sheer scale and beauty of the alien civilization leaving them both breathless. The ship landed in a vast open plaza, surrounded by towering structures that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. As they disembarked, Alex and Ezra were greeted by a group of Zeri, their delicate features and flowing robes marking them as a distinctly different species from their pilot. "Welcome, travelers from the past and future," a voice echoed, its timbre carrying an ageless quality. An elderly Zeri, their skin a deeper shade of azure, stepped forward, their eyes shining with a profound wisdom. "I am Oraxia, the elder of the Zeri Council. We have long awaited your arrival." Zari bowed respectfully before the elder. "Oraxia, these are the ones I have spoken of, Alex of the Temporal Enforcement Agency, and Ezra, the warrior from the future. They seek your guidance in their quest to restore the fractured timeline." Oraxia's gaze settled upon Alex and Ezra, and for a moment the two humans felt as if the ancient Zeri could peer into the very depths of their souls. "You bear a great burden, young ones," the elder said, their voice tinged with a melancholy understanding. "The fabric of time has been rent asunder, and the consequences of such an upheaval could reverberate through the very fabric of existence." Alex stepped forward, her determination overcoming her initial awe. "Elder Oraxia, we know that Dahlia's actions have thrown the timeline into chaos. Can you tell us anything that might help us stop her and restore order?" Oraxia nodded solemnly. "The Xari have long been the custodians of the delicate balance that governs the ebb and flow of time. We have witnessed the perilous consequences that can arise when that balance is disrupted." The elder raised a slender hand, and a shimmering holographic display materialized in the air before them. "The time chaos you now face is the result of a cascading series of temporal rifts, each one weakening the very foundations of the universe. Dahlia's reckless tampering has set in motion a chain reaction that threatens to unravel the very fabric of existence." Oraxia's gaze darkened, a weight of sorrow and regret etching across their features. Ezra's eyes narrowed, their fists clenching in frustration. "Then we have to stop her, no matter the cost. The future I come from is already a blighted ruin. I won't let Dahlia's actions destroy the rest of the universe as well." Alex placed a hand on Ezra's shoulder, her touch calming the warrior's outburst. "Elder Oraxia, can you tell us how to close these time rifts and prevent further damage to the timeline?" The ancient Zeri nodded slowly. "To close the rifts, you must first understand their source. Dahlia's experiments have created a resonance between the temporal and spatial dimensions, allowing the boundaries between timelines to collapse. To disrupt this process, you will need to sever the connection at its core, Dahlia's central hub of operations." Zeri stepped forward, their voice joining the elders. "The elders have detected the location of Dahlia's primary facility, hidden deep within the temporal vortex. However, the journey there will be fraught with peril, as the time chaos grows more unpredictable with each passing moment." Oraxia's gaze settled upon Alex and Ezra, a glimmer of hope shining in their eyes. "You are the only ones who can prevent the unraveling of the universe. The Zari will provide whatever assistance we can, but the ultimate responsibility lies with you." Alex squared her shoulders, her resolve hardening. "Then that's where we'll go. We have to stop Dahlia before it's too late." She turned to Ezra and Zeri, her expression determined. "Let's get moving. Time is not on our side." As the trio made their way back to Zeri's ship, Alex couldn't help but feel the weight of the responsibility they now carried. The fate of the entire universe hung in the balance, and she knew that their journey would only grow more perilous from here on out. But with Ezra's tenacity and Zeri's unique abilities, she was convinced that they had a fighting chance against Dahlia's nefarious plans. With a deep breath, Alex stepped aboard the ship, her eyes fixed on the horizon. They were about to embark on the most crucial mission of their lives, and she was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. Alex, Ezra, and Zeri stood gathered around the central holographic display in the Temporal Enforcement Agency headquarters. The images flickered with fragmented timelines, the colliding eras creating a dizzying visual cacophony. Dahlia has been meddling in the past, attempting to alter key historical events, Alex explained, brow furrowed with concern. We need to find out where and when she's struck next, before the damage becomes irreparable. Ezra crossed their arms, expression grim. The future I come from, it's a nightmare. We can't allow her to reshape the past in her image. Zari's luminous eyes narrowed as they studied the temporal disruptions. The fabric of time is unraveling. We must act with great care, lest we exacerbate the chaos. After several tense moments, a series of coordinates emerged, highlighting a pivotal moment in the 18th century. There, Alex said, tapping the display. This is where Dahlia's trail leads us next. The trio prepared for their mission, equipping themselves with specialized temporal displacement devices and an array of time-resilient equipment. As they stepped into the shimmering portal, they braced themselves for the unknown. The world around them shifted, the familiar contours of the modern city blurring into an unfamiliar landscape. They found themselves in a bustling town square, cobblestone streets lined with quaint shops and horse-drawn carriages. Towering cathedrals and grand manor houses punctuated the skyline, a stark contrast to the sleek, high-tech facilities they had just left behind. We've arrived at the right time, Alex murmured, surveying the scene with a practiced eye. Now we need to find out exactly what Dahlia is planning to do here. The trio split up, blending into the crowd as they began their investigation. Ezra, with their imposing presence and military-like bearing, drew curious glances from the locals, while Sari's otherworldly features and graceful movements captivated onlookers. Meanwhile, Alex moved with the confident stride of a seasoned agent, circulating through the crowd and discreetly questioning merchants and passers-by. The information they gathered painted a picture of a town on the precipice of a pivotal event, the upcoming visit of a renowned historical figure whose actions could have far-reaching consequences. As the team reconvened, a sense of unease settled over them. Dahlia's already here, Ezra growled, fists clenched. We need to find her before she can interfere with the timeline. The trio set out, navigating the winding streets and alleys, their senses heightened for any sign of the rogue scientist's presence. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the town square, the crowd parting to reveal a group of armed men in unfamiliar uniforms. Dahlia's security force, Alex realized, heart racing. We have to stop them before they can alter history. The protagonists sprang into action, their advanced combat training and temporal manipulation abilities giving them a distinct advantage. Ezra charged forward, wielding a futuristic plasma rifle that sent shockwaves through the air, while Zari's fluid movements and telekinetic powers wove a mesmerizing dance of defense and counterattack. Alex, ever the tactician, directed the team's assault, using their knowledge of the timeline to anticipate Dahlia's moves and coordinate their efforts. The battle raged on, the sound of blaster fire and the cries of the panicked townspeople echoing through the streets. Just as it seemed they were gaining the upper hand, a powerful energy blast sent the trio reeling. A tall, imposing figure emerged from the chaos, their features obscured by a dark cloak. Dahlia, Alex growled, raising their weapon. The rogue scientist's laughter rang out, chilling and sardonic. You fools, you think you can stop the inevitable? She gestured grandly, the fabric of time itself seeming to bend to her will. This moment in history is mine to control. Alex, Ezra, and Zari braced themselves, ready to face Dahlia's wrath. The future hung in the balance, and they knew they could not afford to fail. Chapter 6. Future Imperfect. Ezra's eyes narrowed as they stepped out of the swirling temporal portal, their gaze sweeping across the bleak industrial landscape that stretched out before them. The sky was tinted a sickly ochre hue, the air thick with the acrid stench of pollution. Towering spires of gleaming metal and glass pierced the horizon, casting long shadows over the crumbling cityscape below. Welcome to my world, Ezra said, their voice tinged with a mix of resignation and bitterness. Or rather, the future that Dahlia's actions have wrought. Alex and Zari emerged behind them, the alien's eyes widening in a rare display of surprise. This is unsettling, Zari murmured, their usually calm demeanor betraying a hint of unease. Understatement of the century, Alex muttered, taking in the stark, oppressive atmosphere. So this is what's at stake if we fail? Ezra nodded solemnly. Yes, Dahlia's tampering with the timeline has led to the complete collapse of society, the decimation of the environment, and the rise of a totalitarian regime that has subjugated the entire planet. They paused, their expression darkening. And I'm all that's left to try and stop it. The trio made their way through the desolate streets, the only sounds the distant hum of machinery and the occasional screeching of some unseen mechanical creature. Ezra guided them to a decrepit safe house, hidden away from the prying eyes of the regime's surveillance network. Inside, they were greeted by a familiar face, Ezra's future self, their features haggard and eyes haunted by the weight of their experiences. "You're here," the older Ezra said, a flicker of hope in their voice. "I was beginning to lose faith that you'd make it." "We're here," Ezra replied, their gaze meeting their future counterparts with a steely determination. "And we're going to do whatever it takes to prevent this future from coming to pass." The older Ezra nodded, gesturing to a series of holographic displays that depicted the sprawling, blighted cityscape outside. Dahlia's regime has consolidated its power across the globe, using advanced technology and ruthless tactics to crush any resistance. They pointed to a series of schematics. This is their primary command center, the heart of their operation. If we can disable it, it will cripple their ability to maintain control. Alex stepped forward, her brow furrowed in thought. "And how do you propose we do that?" "Infiltrating a heavily fortified facility in the middle of an authoritarian dystopia doesn't exactly sound like a walk in the park." The older Ezra's lips curled into a wry smile. "It's not, but we have a few advantages." They pressed a button, and the displays shifted to reveal a collection of futuristic weaponry and gadgets. "We've been collecting and reverse engineering Dahlia's technology, finding ways to turn it against her." Zari's eyes gleamed with fascination as they examined the unfamiliar devices. "Fascinating. The level of sophistication in these systems is beyond anything I've encountered." "It was always your expertise that helped us gain the upper hand," the older Ezra said, a hint of pride in their voice. "And we'll need that now more than ever." Alex folded her arms, her gaze shifting between the two Ezras. "All right then, what's the plan?" The older Ezra's expression grew somber. "It's going to be risky, and the stakes couldn't be higher. But if we pull this off, we might just have a chance at preventing this future from ever happening." As the trio listened intently, the older Ezra laid out a daring infiltration strategy, one that would require them to navigate a gauntlet of advanced security systems, elite enemy forces, and the ever-present threat of Dahlia's temporal manipulations. Alex's mind raced, weighing the potential risks and rewards, while Zari's alien intellect offered invaluable insights into the complex technological challenges they would face. Ezra, meanwhile, remained steadfast, their eyes burning with a determination forged in the crucible of this bleak, dystopian world. They knew the price of failure all too well, and they were prepared to do whatever it took to ensure a better future, for themselves and for the rest of the universe. With a nod, Alex turned to her companions. "Let's do this. For the sake of all that's at stake, we can't afford to fail." The trio set to work, preparing their equipment and formulating contingency plans, all too aware that a single misstep could doom them to the same fate that had befallen this ravaged timeline. As they made their final preparations, Ezra couldn't help but steal a glance at their older self, silently vowing to spare them from the unimaginable horrors they had endured. The weight of the responsibility they carried was heavy, but Alex, Ezra, and Zari were determined to rise to the challenge. The future and the very fabric of the universe hung in the balance, and they would do whatever it took to ensure that this bleak, dystopian vision never came to pass. With a deep breath, they stepped out into the oppressive gloom, ready to confront the nightmarish reality that Dahlia had wrought. The final confrontation was drawing near, and they would need to give everything they had to emerge victorious. Chapter 7. The Cosmic Perspective. Zari's homeworld was a vision of tranquility amidst the chaos that had engulfed the timeline. Alex, Ezra, and Zari emerged from the shimmering portal into a landscape of sweeping crystalline structures and cascading energy fields, a harmony of natural and technological wonders. As they walked through the bustling alien city, Alex couldn't help but marvel at the elegant integration of diverse alien cultures and advanced science. Zari served as their guide, offering insights into the unique social and philosophical frameworks that underpinned their civilization. Our people have long sought to exist in balance with the cosmic forces that govern the universe, Zari explained, their voice resonating with a melodic cadence. We do not seek to dominate or control, but to understand and coexist. Ezra, ever the pragmatist, cut straight to the heart of the matter. Then why are you involved in this time chaos? If your goal is to maintain balance, why not simply let the humans sort out their own problems? Zari considered the question, their luminescent eyes reflecting the intricate patterns of light that danced across the towering spires. The integrity of the timeline is a delicate balance, one that affects all sentient beings, regardless of origin. When that balance is disrupted, the consequences can be catastrophic, reverberating through the very fabric of reality. Alex nodded, understanding the weight of Zari's words. Dahlia's actions have the potential to unravel the entire universe. You have a vested interest in stopping her, don't you? Indeed, Zari replied, their tone grave. Our scholars have detected the first signs of universal destabilization. If Dahlia's plan comes to fruition, the resulting backlash could tear the cosmos asunder, destroying everything in its wake. Ezra's brow furrowed, their gaze hardening. Then we have no choice. We must stop her, no matter the cost. As they delved deeper into Zari's domain, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and reverence. The alien technology they encountered was beyond anything the Temporal Enforcement Agency had at its disposal, offering tantalizing glimpses of the mysteries that lay beyond the realm of human understanding. In a sprawling research facility, Zari introduced them to a team of their most accomplished scholars and scientists. Together they pored over intricate holographic displays, analyzing the fluctuations in the fabric of the universe and charting the progress of the time fractures. The distortions are spreading, like a cancer consuming the very foundations of reality, one of the Zari scientists observed, their voice tinged with concern. If left unchecked, they will consume everything in their path. Ezra's stance was resolute. Then we must act quickly. What can you tell us about the nature of these distortions? How can we stop them? The Zari scientists exchanged a series of complex gestures, their bodies swaying in a ritualistic dance as they communicated. After a moment, one of them stepped forward, their words carefully chosen. The fabric of time and space is woven together, an intricate tapestry that binds all existence. Dahlia's actions have rent that tapestry, creating rifts that threaten to unravel the entire cosmic design. They paused, their gaze earnest. To mend the tears, we must understand the underlying structure of the universe itself. Alex felt a surge of hope. Can you help us? Zari stepped forward, their voice resolute. We will do what we can to assist you. The survival of all worlds, both human and alien, depends on our success. With renewed determination, the team set to work, drawing upon the Zari's vast knowledge and technological prowess. They explored the secrets of the universe, delving into the hidden mechanisms that govern the flow of time and the delicate interplay of matter and energy. As they made their discoveries, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder and fragility. The very fabric of reality seemed to hang by a thread, vulnerable to the whims of those who would seek to manipulate it for their own gain. The work was arduous, requiring long hours of intense study and experimentation. But gradually, a plan began to take shape, a way to harness the power of the universe itself to disrupt Dahlia's machinations and close the time rifts. Just as they were nearing the final stages of their preparations, a sudden, jarring tremor shook the ground, sending the Zari researchers into a flurry of activity. The distortions have intensified, one of them shouted, their limbs moving with surprising dexterity as they adjusted the complex monitoring systems. Dahlia's forces are attacking, attempting to seize our technology. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. We have to defend this place. If Dahlia gets her hands on Zari's knowledge, we may lose our only chance to stop her. Ezra, already wielding a gleaming energy weapon, nodded grimly. Then let's give her a fight she won't soon forget. The team raced to the perimeter, joining the Zari in repelling the invading forces. Bolts of energy crackled through the air as Dahlia's rogue time travelers, now armed with advanced alien technology, launched their assault. Alex and Ezra fought with a sense of desperation, their movements a blur as they utilized every tactic and skill at their disposal. Zari, in turn, demonstrated their mastery of the cosmic forces, manipulating the very fabric of space-time to confound and disorient their enemies. The battle raged on, with both sides refusing to yield. Alex could feel the weight of responsibility bearing down on them, the fate of the entire universe hanging in the balance. They knew that failure was not an option. Just as the Zari's defenses began to falter, a brilliant flash of light erupted from the central research complex. A towering, shimmering construct emerged, its intricate lattice of energy fields pulsing with power. "The Universal Stabilizer!" one of the Zari scientists exclaimed, their voice tinged with hope. "Quickly, we must activate it before Dahlia's forces can reach it." Alex and Ezra redoubled their efforts, fighting with renewed vigor to hold the line and give the Zari scientists the time they needed to complete the activation sequence. In a spectacular display of cosmic force, the Universal Stabilizer unleashed a wave of energy that rippled through the colliding timelines, disrupting Dahlia's time manipulation technology and destabilizing her invading forces. As the rogue time travelers were thrown back, Zari turned to Alex and Ezra, their expressions solemn. "The stabilizer has bought us time, but its effects are temporary. Dahlia will undoubtedly find a way to bypass its defenses. We must seize this opportunity to strike at the heart of her operation and stop her once and for all." Alex nodded, their gaze steely with determination. "Then let's not waste a moment. We've got a universe to save." With the Zari's advanced technology and knowledge at their disposal, the team prepared for the final confrontation, knowing that the fate of the timeline and the very fabric of reality hung in the balance. Chapter 8: Betrayal in the Ranks. Alex strode through the pristine corridors of the Temporal Enforcement Agency, TEA headquarters, their mind racing with the newfound revelations about the extent of Dahlia's infiltration. The rogue scientist's web of deceit had reached even into the heart of the organization, charged with protecting the integrity of the timeline. Upon returning from their harrowing encounters with Dahlia's forces, Alex had immediately requested an emergency briefing with the agency's leadership. Ezra and Zari accompanied them, their unique perspectives and abilities crucial to unraveling the mystery. As the meeting commenced, Alex laid out the evidence they had gathered, detailing Dahlia's plans and the imminent threat to the timeline. The TA directors listened intently, their expressions growing graver with each passing moment. "This is worse than we imagined," the director, a seasoned veteran named Amara, said, her brow furrowed in concern. "Dahlia has managed to place her agents within our own ranks. We've been blind to the extent of her manipulation." Alex nodded grimly. "That's why we need to act immediately. Dahlia's forces could be poised to strike at any moment, and we can't afford any more disruptions to the timeline." Ezra, who had been silent throughout much of the meeting, finally spoke up. "Then we need to hit them hard and fast, before they have a chance to react. The longer we wait, the more damage they'll do." Zari, their alien features inscrutable, offered a measured perspective. "I sense a great disturbance in the fabric of the universe. Dahlia's actions threaten to unravel the delicate balance that sustains all reality. We must proceed with caution, lest we exacerbate the crisis." The directors exchanged concerned glances, the weight of the decision hanging heavily in the air. Finally, Amara nodded. "You're right. We can't risk further destabilization of the timeline. Alex, you and your team will lead the operation to root out Dahlia's infiltrators within the TEA. Tread carefully and move swiftly. Time is of the essence." Leaving the conference room, Alex felt a growing sense of unease. The revelation of a mole within the agency's ranks shook their confidence, and they knew that trust would be a precious commodity in the battles to come. Assembling Ezra and Zari, Alex laid out the plan. "We need to move quickly, but we can't afford any missteps. Dahlia's agents could be anywhere, and we have to be vigilant. Zari, can you use your abilities to help us identify them?" Zari nodded, their eyes narrowing in concentration. "I will do what I can, but the fluctuations in the time-space continuum make it difficult to pinpoint their locations with certainty. We must proceed with caution." Ezra's expression darkened. I'll do whatever it takes to stop Dahlia's forces. After what I've seen in my own timeline, I'm not willing to let that future come to pass. Alex placed a reassuring hand on Ezra's shoulder. I know, but we have to be smart about this. We can't afford to make rash decisions that could jeopardize the mission. The trio made their way to the operations center, where a team of elite TEA agents was already gathered, awaiting their orders. Alex took a deep breath, steeling themselves for the challenges ahead. Listen up, everyone. We've uncovered a mole within our own ranks, working for Dahlia. Our mission is to identify and neutralize these infiltrators before they can sabotage our efforts to restore the timeline. Zari will provide us with whatever intel they can gather, but stay alert and trust no one completely. We move out in 5 minutes. Let's get this done. The agents sprang into action, their faces grim with determination. Alex, Ezra, and Zari led the charge, their unique abilities and perspectives complementing one another as they navigated the high-tech corridors of the TEA headquarters. Suddenly, a series of explosions rocked the building, sending shockwaves through the timelines. Alex's heart raced as they realized Dahlia's forces had launched a full-scale assault, exploiting the chaos to strike at the heart of the agency. They must have known we were onto them, Ezra growled, already readying their weapons. We need to move fast and take them down before they can do any more damage. The team split up, with Zari using their temporal manipulation powers to disrupt the enemy's movements, while Ezra and the TEA agents engaged in a fierce firefight. Alex, meanwhile, raced towards the central command hub, determined to uncover the identity of the mole. Bursting through the door, Alex found the room in disarray, with agents and Dahlia's forces locked in a violent struggle. Scanning the chaos, they spotted a familiar face, one of the senior analysts, a respected veteran named Ren. "Ren?" Alex exclaimed, their voice tinged with disbelief. "How could you do this?" Ren turned, a twisted grin on their face. "I'm sorry, Alex, but Dahlia's vision for the future is the only way. You've always been too short-sighted to see the true potential of time travel." Ren launched a volley of energy blasts, forcing Alex to take cover. Ezra and Zari, sensing the commotion, quickly joined the fray, their combined efforts gradually pushing Ren and the other infiltrators back. As the battle raged on, Alex realized that Ren's betrayal had struck at the very heart of the agency, shattering their sense of trust and cohesion. The realization weighed heavily on their mind, even as they fought to protect the timeline and their colleagues. Amid the chaos, Zari's voice echoed through the command center. "The time rifts are destabilizing rapidly. We must act quickly to prevent the entire timeline from unraveling." With a renewed sense of urgency, the team redoubled their efforts, utilizing every resource and tactic at their disposal to overwhelm Dahlia's forces and secure the command center. In the end, Ren and the other infiltrators were apprehended, their treachery exposed. As the dust settled, Alex stood amid the wreckage, their mind racing with the implications of what had transpired. The breach of trust within the TEA had shaken their confidence, but they knew that the fight was far from over. With Ezra and Zari at their side, Alex steeled their resolve, knowing that the fate of the universe hung in the balance. They would need to confront their own doubts and the fragility of the timeline if they were to overcome Dahlia's machinations and restore the delicate balance of the cosmos. The next step was clear. They had to track down Dahlia's primary base of operations and put an end to her nefarious plans, no matter the cost. The fate of the past, present, and future depended on their success. Chapter 9: The Eye of the Storm. The air crackled with energy as the team infiltrated Dahlia's main base of operations, a sprawling complex nestled in the heart of a colliding timeline. Alex, Ezra, and Zari moved with a sense of purpose, their faces etched with determination as they evaluated the intricate web of time manipulation devices that surrounded them. "This is where it all ends," Alex said, their voice steady despite the mounting tension. "We have to be careful. Dahlia has had time to fortify this place, and I have no doubt she's prepared for our arrival." Ezra nodded, their grip tightening on the futuristic weapon they had acquired in the dystopian timeline. "We've come too far to fail now. Whatever it takes, we have to stop her before the fabric of the universe unravels completely." Zari's 4 eyes narrowed, their alien features betraying a deep sense of unease. The temporal distortions here are unlike anything I've ever encountered. The very foundations of reality seem to shift with every step we take. Alex drew a deep breath, mentally preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. Then, we'll have to move quickly and with absolute precision. Dahlia's power grows with each passing moment. Our only chance is to strike at the heart of her operation before it's too late. The trio advanced cautiously, navigating a labyrinth of shifting corridors and temporal anomalies. Sudden flashes of light and the jarring sensation of time itself, bending around them, kept them on high alert, their senses attuned to the slightest hint of danger. As they neared the central chamber, the air grew thick with the hum of Dahlia's machines, the very air crackling with the intensity of the time-bending energies at play. Alex signaled for Ezra and Zari to take their positions, readying themselves for the final confrontation. The chamber doors parted, and they stepped inside, greeted by the sight of Dahlia standing amidst a dizzying array of controls and holographic displays. The rogue scientist's eyes gleamed with a triumphant, almost manic light as she turned to face them. "So you've finally arrived," Dahlia said, her voice dripping with condescension. "I must admit I'm impressed that you've made it this far, but your little crusade ends here." Alex leveled their gaze at Dahlia, refusing to be cowed by the woman's intimidating presence. "It's over, Dahlia. Your manipulation of the timeline has gone too far. We're here to stop you, no matter the cost." Dahlia's lips curled into a cold, calculating smile. "Oh, I think not. You see, I've been preparing for your arrival." She pressed a series of buttons, and the chamber came alive with a dizzying array of temporal distortions and shifting realities. "Welcome to the Eye of the Storm, where the very fabric of time bends to my will," Dahlia declared, her voice echoing with a sense of triumph. "Here I hold the power to reshape the universe according to my vision. And you, my dear Alex, are powerless to stop me." Ezra and Zari sprung into action, their combined efforts unleashing a barrage of attacks against Dahlia's defenses. The chamber erupted in a dazzling display of energy beams and temporal disruptions, as the protagonists fought to gain the upper hand. Alex darted between the shifting realities, their mind racing to anticipate Dahlia's next move. The rogue scientist was a formidable opponent, her mastery of time manipulation technology pushing the team to their limits. As the battle raged on, Alex caught glimpses of the true magnitude of Dahlia's plans. The woman's ambition had become all-consuming, her desire to reshape the universe according to her own vision, fueled by a deep-seated personal tragedy that had warped her sense of morality. Ezra's attacks grew more desperate, their frustration mounting as they realized the true scale of the threat they faced. "She's not just trying to alter history, she wants to rewrite the very foundations of reality," they shouted, narrowly avoiding a temporal vortex that threatened to consume them. Zari's alien abilities proved invaluable, the Zari's unique connection to the fabric of the universe, allowing them to disrupt Dahlia's time-bending machinery with precise, targeted strikes. Yet, even their advanced knowledge seemed to pale in comparison to the sheer power Dahlia had managed to harness. As the battle raged on, Alex realized that they would need to make the ultimate sacrifice to stop Dahlia's plans. The very survival of the universe hung in the balance, and Alex knew that they could not afford to hold back any longer. With a determined glint in their eye, Alex stepped forward, drawing Dahlia's attention away from Ezra and Zari. "If this is the Eye of the Storm, then it's time we put an end to your reign of terror," they declared, their voice ringing with unwavering resolve. Dahlia's eyes narrowed, recognizing the challenge in Alex's words. "You think you can stop me? You're nothing more than a pawn in a game you can't even begin to comprehend." The two adversaries clashed in a dizzying display of temporal manipulation, each wielding the power of time with skill and precision. The chamber became a whirlwind of shifting realities. As Alex and Dahlia unleashed their full power, the fate of the universe hanging in the balance. Ezra and Zari watched in awe and horror, their efforts to support Alex hampered by the chaotic nature of the battle. They realized that the only way to stop Dahlia's plans was to disrupt the very heart of her time-bending machinery, even if it meant risking their own lives. With a nod of understanding, Ezra and Zari launched a coordinated assault, their combined abilities tearing through the intricate network of devices that powered Dahlia's temporal manipulation. The chamber erupted in a blinding explosion of energy, as the fabric of time itself seemed to buckle under the strain. Alex, caught in the center of the maelstrom, felt the very world around them begin to unravel. Dahlia's power still threatened to overwhelm them, but Alex knew that they had to push forward, no matter the cost. In a final, desperate act, Alex reached deep within themselves, drawing upon the entirety of their temporal training and experience. With a mighty effort, they unleashed a devastating pulse of energy, disrupting the very foundation of Dahlia's control over the timeline. The chamber erupted in a blinding flash of light, and for a fleeting moment, Alex felt as if they were suspended in a sea of infinite possibilities. The weight of the responsibility they bore threatened to crush them, but they refused to falter, their determination unwavering. As the light faded, Alex found themselves alone, the chamber now silent and still. Dahlia was nowhere to be seen, and the temporal distortions had been brought under control. But the cost had been high, and Alex knew that the battle had taken a heavy toll. With a weary sigh, Alex turned and made their way out of the chamber, their steps slow but purposeful. The future of the timeline now rested in their hands, and they knew that the true test of their resolve was yet to come. Chapter 10. Mending Time. The air crackled with energy as Alex, Ezra, and Zari converged at the heart of the time vortex, the epicenter of Dahlia's twisted machinations. The very fabric of the universe seemed to shimmer and distort around them, a constant reminder of the fragile balance they fought to restore. Dahlia stood at the center of the tempest, triumphant. "You fools have no idea the power I wield," she declared, her voice echoing through the swirling eddies of time. "With a single thought, I can unravel the tapestry of existence and remake the world in my own image." Alex gripped their weapon tightly, the weight of responsibility heavy upon their shoulders. "You've gone too far, Dahlia. The timeline is unraveling, and the consequences of your actions will be felt across all of time and space." Ezra stepped forward, their eyes blazing with a righteous fury. "We won't let you destroy our future. Not again." They brandished an advanced energy weapon, the residual glow from the time-displaced technology casting an otherworldly hue across their determined features. Zari's four eyes narrowed as they extended their long, slender fingers, the air shimmering with cosmic energy. The balance must be restored. The fabric of the universe cannot withstand your tampering any longer. Dahlia's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Then I shall tear it all down and rebuild it anew." She activated a series of controls, and the vortex began to expand, the very laws of physics straining under the immense power. The protagonists braced themselves, knowing that this final confrontation would determine the fate of the entire universe. With their unique abilities and the weight of their responsibilities upon them, they charged into the maelstrom, prepared to do whatever it took to stop Dahlia's apocalyptic vision. Alex ducked and weaved, utilizing their training and quick reflexes to avoid Dahlia's attacks. They fired a barrage of temporal disruption pulses, hoping to destabilize the rogue scientist's control over the vortex. But Dahlia's defenses were formidable, and she easily deflected the blows. Ezra unleashed a volley of high-powered energy bursts, their weapon cutting through the distorted air with devastating precision. The warrior from the future knew the stakes all too well, and they refused to hold back, even as the time chaos threatened to overwhelm them. Zari, meanwhile, manipulated the very fabric of the universe, weaving intricate lattices of cosmic energy to disrupt Dahlia's control. Their alien physiology and deep understanding of the fundamental forces at play gave them a unique advantage, but the strain was evident in their features as they channeled their power. The three protagonists fought in perfect sync, their movements fluid and coordinated as they pushed back against Dahlia's onslaught. But the rogue scientist was relentless, her determination fueled by a lifetime of ambition and a deep-seated need for control. "You can't stop me," Dahlia cried, her voice rising above the cacophony of the colliding timelines. "This is my destiny, to reshape the world, to erase the mistakes of the past, and build a new future in my own image." Alex felt their resolve wavering as they witnessed the sheer scope of Dahlia's plan. The timeline was unraveling at an exponential rate, and the very fabric of reality was being torn asunder. They knew that if they failed, the consequences would be catastrophic, not just for this era, but for all of existence. Ezra saw the doubt in Alex's eyes and knew that they couldn't falter, not now. With a renewed sense of purpose, they surged forward, their weapon blazing. "We won't let you do this, Dahlia. We won't let you destroy everything we've fought to protect." Zari joined the fray, their hands weaving intricate patterns in the air as they channeled their alien abilities. The balance must be restored. The universe will not tolerate your arrogance any longer. The three protagonists pressed their attack, their combined efforts slowly but surely beginning to erode Dahlia's control over the vortex. The rogue scientist's expression twisted in rage, her eyes wild as she fought to maintain her grip on the chaos. As the battle raged on, Alex, Ezra, and Zari realized that they needed to find a way to permanently disrupt Dahlia's plans. They knew that simply defeating her in combat would not be enough. They had to find a way to close the rift and restore the timeline to its proper order. In a moment of clarity, Alex formulated a daring plan. "Ezra, Zari, I need you to focus your efforts on destabilizing the vortex. I'll handle Dahlia." Ezra and Zari exchanged a brief nod, understanding the gravity of the situation. They redoubled their attacks, their combined powers straining against the ever-widening rift. Alex turned their attention to Dahlia, their eyes narrowed in determination. "This ends now." They charged forward, engaging the rogue scientist in a fierce hand-to-hand battle, using every ounce of their skill and training to gain the upper hand. The two combatants traded blows, each desperate to assert their dominance. Dahlia's eyes burned with a maniacal gleam as she fought to maintain control, but Alex's resolve was unwavering. They knew that the fate of the universe hung in the balance, and they refused to back down. As the battle reached its climax, Alex saw an opening. With a swift, decisive move, they disarmed Dahlia, sending her time manipulation device clattering to the ground. In that moment, the vortex began to destabilize, the fabric of reality straining under the immense pressure. Dahlia let out a primal scream of rage and despair, realizing that her grand vision was slipping through her fingers. "No, I won't let it end like this." She lunged towards the device, but Alex intercepted her, tackling her to the ground. The vortex continued to collapse, the very laws of physics unraveling around them. Ezra and Zari poured their remaining strength into the effort, their combined powers pushing back against the encroaching chaos. As the rift began to close, Alex and Dahlia found themselves trapped at the heart of the storm, the energy swirling around them with devastating intensity. Alex knew that they had to act quickly, but the decision they faced was agonizing. In a moment of searing clarity, Alex made their choice. With a final, resolute look, they grabbed Dahlia and pulled her into the collapsing vortex, sacrificing themselves to ensure the restoration of the timeline. Ezra and Zari watched in horror as the rift closed, sealing Alex and Dahlia within. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, the very air trembling with the weight of the sacrifice. As the timeline reset, Ezra and Zari were left to contemplate the fragility of time and the responsibility that came with wielding such power. They knew that the journey had been arduous and the cost had been high, but the integrity of the universe had been preserved. In the aftermath, Ezra and Zari would carry on, their experiences forever etched in their hearts and minds. They would remain vigilant, ready to confront any future threats to the delicate balance of the timeline, their resolve strengthened by the lessons learned and the sacrifices made. The story of Alex, Dahlia, Ezra, and Zari would echo through the ages, a testament to the fragility of time and the importance of the choices we make. For in the end, it was not just the timeline that had been mended, but the very fabric of existence itself.